the best fried chicken in Texas. Robby's Country Fried Chicken. Texas born, Texas raised. A chicken joint with 35 years of service to our community. Thanks to our loyal customers and social media followers. Come try the best gizzards in Texas, the best tenders in Texas, and the best chicken in Texas. Call us at 830-773-9189. 830-773-9189. Don't forget, we have curbside service and delivery by DoorDash. Or find us on Facebook, Robby's Chicken. RODEES Chicken. Like us on Facebook.
The best fried chicken in Texas.
Robby's Country Fried Chicken.
That metal interview.
Hey, and we are back with another incredible episode of That Metal Interview podcast with your friend and host, James. That's myself, and we truly welcome you guys and girls to one of the fastest rising podcasts out there, for sure. So we have as a guest this week, we have the great vocalist, the great front woman for the Agonist and Sixth Sense. We have Vicky Psarakis of the Agonist, of course, and she talks to us about the band's current status, their latest album, their latest effort, which is Orphans, and she speaks of her newest band, Sixth Sense, in which I believe her husband plays in there in the band too. So isn't that awesome, man? You get your own couple, your spouse playing with you, man. That's very cool, Vicky. So thank you for sharing that information, and thank you for bringing the metal to us metalheads, the fans. So we truly appreciate that, Vicky. And so to you fans out there, before we continue, let's check out Sixth Sense, Vicky's most latest project, and the song is called Make Believe. Let's check out Make Believe by Sixth Sense. We'll be right back.
To the fire, so put a little more. It's an all-out war. Can't you see the allure? No thoughts, no cure. Just time to endure, but you can't know for sure. Split both sides. We strive to divide. Group think me shit when one man flies. Throw away your freedom. You wanna be enslaved? Destroy morality to live depraved. It's a free-flow walk, so do as you please. Do as you see to earn favor and a peace. Freedom commandum is the memorandum. Racial propaganda. Do you understand? Of the world is a stage. You're a rat in a cage. Trapped where they want you on the next phase. Break out the kind of the Lord of go on, let me. Did anyone tell you rules of make-believe? You are anything you wanna be. Did anyone tell you life ain't always fair? Ever think that no one has to? Politics, journalists, celebs, intellects turn you into social outcasts, rejects. Now what's left? Can't be much when everyone's a liar. Who should you trust? Not emancipated, your mind's castrated, faded, elated, intoxicated by the stream of information they feed to you through the web and the tube. You're easily subdued. Doesn't take much, got no self-esteem. Social media fiends, it's a long lost dream. Play syringes with a screen, it's a scene obscene. Bullshit to the left, bullshit to the right. Nothing makes sense in this long lost fight. De-evolution of the troglodyte. Stranger family for fame, you're a star, what do you gain? Pleasure and the pain as you're going in.
what you do, what you say, up to you to get through with your message across. It's a loss, it's a shame, doesn't change, stays the same. This is my life, not a joke, not a game.
You think it's funny who's laughing now? Tear the roof off the place and I'll show you how. With the message in it, sayonara, see you later. I'm a walking catastrophe, ain't nothing after me. Slandered words, name dragged in the mud. Get your face smacked, but the middle take the punch. So take the pick and make that choice. Throw your hands up or break that noise.
Did anyone tell you rules are make-believe? Did anyone tell you life ain't always fair? Did anyone tell you rules are make-believe?
You already think you wanna be.
Did anyone tell you life ain't always fair?
Ever think that no one has to?
Did anyone tell you? 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 Did anyone tell you?
Right now, outside of the Lord, so I'm living right now. Outside of the Lord,
Sick. And sick is the word that we need to describe this stuff. Sixth Sense and the metal is sick. Once again, Sixth Sense is spelled sick. SICKSENSE. Sixth Sense. It's not like Nikki Six SIXX. It's not like that. So it's sick, like if you're feeling sick, and then sense. So look it up, man. Guys and girls, stream it, download it, support Vicky on her latest project, the newest project, that is Sixth Sense Make Believe. That's the name of the video and the song. Of course, support her band, The Agonist, or should I say the band she is in. So here is our interview with Vicky Psarakis. Enjoy, guys. So first of all, congrats on your new single, Make Believe, with Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense, right? How did this come together? Did you already know the band, or was this formed?
Yeah, so it was kind of a happy accident. My husband, Robby, the
Okay.
other vocalist in the band, auditioned for this band called Keychain that was looking for a new singer. And he doesn't sing, he just raps and does like harsh vocals. And he sent them in a few songs and they really liked it. And I helped by adding a few like backing vocals there. And the guitar player, Bran, got back to him just saying that he really loved everything that Robby did, but he was hoping to incorporate singing in this band because, you know, you can't break out in this style of music unless you have those big choruses that people can grab onto and sing along to.
Right.
And with that in mind, I helped him write the third song, which was coincidentally Make Believe. And we sent that in and everyone absolutely loved it. So then they were like, let's just invite, Vicky to join the band. And at first I was a little bit, iffy about it. Not because I didn't like the music, but just because I was like, how are people going to take this? Like, I'm in the Agonist, that's this like extreme melodic death metal band. Yeah. And I'm also doing this, but I told myself that I was just being stupid and I should just listen to the music, and if the music's good, that's all that matters. And that was it.
Well, it sounds great. Very good stuff for us metal fanatics, rock fanatics.
Thank you.
Would you say it's kind of like a Linkin Park kind of meets some heavier kind of Korn or something?
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of comments. To be honest, since we released this video, in my head, because I was a huge, still am, early Linkin Park fan. I would obviously call it a heavier Linkin Park, but I saw people comparing it to like Limp Bizkit, Korn, like you mentioned, POD, Il Nino, even Body Count, all sorts of new metal style bands. So the thing that I found funniest were the comments with like, that really got the throwback vibe, and people were like, wait, is this like 2002?
Right? The new metal stuff.
Yeah.
Rap metal. Well,
Yeah,
not rap metal.
I see that as a positive. I mean, it's a lot of people told me that this song made them kind of feel young again and take them back into that place. So I think that's a compliment. Not all music needs to be super serious and like depressing and heavy. I mean, no, this is still very heavy, but it's nice to have like a lighthearted, fun sort of video and vibe going on, I think.
For sure, that's for sure. So let's talk about yourself real quick. I mean, congrats on your talent. I mean, not only can you sing a regular voice, but you have an awesome death metal voice. If I can call it a death metal voice. How did you? At what point did you know that you had this talent? Was it very young, or was it later on?
Well, I've been singing my entire life. I was just always able to sing on key, so they would, grab me when I was in school and make me sing in the choirs and participate in plays and stuff like that. So it was just something that I did. I didn't particularly have an interest in singing professionally, I think, though, until I heard heavier music. And initially it was like bands like Linkin Park or Evanescence or, those kind of crossover bands that we all listen to, or most of us listen to, before getting into like heavier metal.
Yeah.
And later on then, I went back, I discovered the classics like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and, Dio, all that good stuff. And that's when I started taking music a little bit more seriously. I really cared more so about the songwriting aspect of it, so I started kind of trying to write my own songs on piano. And then because I could sing, I started singing them. Yeah. And at some point I just decided that, that's my natural God-given talent. Let me pour all of my effort into this. And that's just how I got better. And I had this curiosity on like different vocal styles because I enjoy all sorts of music, all sorts of genres. So obviously there was a point where I was listening to like a lot of melodic death metal, like Swedish bands specifically. And one of my friends was like, well, you already do all these like different singing styles. Why don't you try to like scream? And that was pretty much it. It was just curiosity. And of course, it was horrible in the beginning. I don't know one person that, started screaming and it was amazing right off the bat. But, you put a lot of work and effort in it and you take your time and it gets better,
For sure. I mean, I play in local bands here, in Texas, and I've tried, I sing a little bit, just regular vocals, and I've tried, I try to do what you do, or, the death metal thing. There's just no way. I mean, not just anybody can do that, That's tough.
It definitely takes a lot of effort. I think it doesn't require that like natural talent that singing does, because if you can't sing in key, like if you're tone deaf, there's no fix for that. Yeah. When it comes to screaming, I think it's more, some people have a natural talent when it comes to understanding it and getting it quicker than others. But I do think that it is something that everyone is capable of if they really practice hard enough. And it's really just about it clicking, like the right way to do it, the way that you don't blow out your voice after, 20 minutes of doing it. And I think that just that point where it clicks for each person is different. Like some people could get it in like a week, and other people might take 2 years to finally get it. But yeah, I think it's something people, like even you and other people, are capable of if you really put your mind to it.
Yeah, I interviewed John McEntee of Incantation, this is the death metal band, and he spoke of that. He never was the lead singer for his band until just recently. He said he decided to train his voice the way he wanted to hear his death metal voice, and back then he wasn't ready. And so you're right about that. It's different. Some people work on it in a week. You'll get it down, and that's cool. That's tough for sure.
Yeah, and I think influences are a big component. Because if your influences, like if the people you're trying to sound like are closer to your natural range and tone, I think it's easier for it to click and for you to do it. But if for whatever reason the vocalists you really like are so different from your natural talents and your natural range, it's a lot harder, you know. So if you naturally have, let's say, a low bassy voice for a man and you want to sing power metal, it's going to take a lot of effort, you know.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw some of your Twitch streams. Love the way you did I'm a Metal Girl.
I'm a metal girl in a metal world. Guttural vocals, guitar solos, windmill with my hair. There's mosh pits everywhere. Participation takes out your frustration.
Something like that. Let's hear it.
I'm a metal girl in a metal world. Guttural vocals, guitar solos, windmill with my hair. There's mosh pits everywhere. Participation takes out your frustration.
That's pretty cool. Let's do one more time.
I'm a Barbie girl.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I never thought about, you know, doing that or a pop song into a, let's say, a metal. Do you plan on recording that, like an actual recording, or?
I've done a few like parody stuff before. I think especially, you know, like there's a lot of people that go on YouTube and they do like pop goes metal covers, and they don't touch the lyrics at all. They just like add some distortion guitars and some blast beats, and it's like, oh, now it's metal, which is cool. But sometimes I'm like, it's a little bit lazy. You know, we could spice up the lyrics. We could change it. And the one you mentioned was just really like an accident. It was during my birthday stream where someone asked for me to sing Barbie Girl, and like I started doing it. And halfway through, I'm like, no, I am not singing these lyrics. These are god awful lyrics. I am not doing it. And the very next day, I was in my kitchen. I was cooking, and the song was stuck in my head, of course, because it's freaking catchy.
It's catchy,
Yeah. And I was just singing, and, you know, instead of saying, like, I'm a Barbie girl, I went, I'm a metal girl, and I'm like, wait, you got something there.
There you go. I'm a metal girl.
And,
it fits better.
It's better, and I rewrote the lyrics in a way where it's, like, cool for a metalhead, you know, they can relate, so.
For sure.
Yeah, I could see myself doing more of that, you know, over on Twitch. For sure.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So, who are your heroes? Who do you point at as your heroes, your influences? You know?
I don't know. This question always like puts me on the spot a little bit because, like I mentioned earlier, I have a very wide range of like musical genres that I listen to. So I wasn't ever, you know, one of those people where it's like, I can point out 2 or 3 people and that's it, and just be like, when I was young, I aspired to be them, you know, because like when I was younger, when I first listened to Linkin Park or Evanescence, I was like, oh, Amy Lee's amazing, Chester Bennington's amazing, you know. Then I moved on. I discovered like Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford, and then I moved on and I discovered Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth, or Michael Stan from Dark Tranquillity, like heavier death metal vocals, you know. And then that goes for like with every genre. For example, when it comes to like later on in my life, I discovered like bands like Whitechapel and Phil Bozeman, huge influence.
Awesome.
So I could give you like 30 different vocalists that I, in each genre, you know, that like I took something from. Yeah. Yeah,
there's too many to narrow down for sure. Yep.
Yeah, but I do know that some vocalists just have, you know, like their top 3 that influence them, and to this day, like 20 years later, they could tell you, yeah, this is my top 3. For me, it just keeps growing and expanding. Like I keep discovering vocalists and genres of music that I'm like, whoa, they're awesome, you know, and it's an influence for me. And I think that's probably why you get that variety of vocals when it comes to my own approach, because I do have this crazy, you know, variety of vocalists that I've listened to.
Speaking of heroes and, you know, influences, is there anything on your bucket list you want to, you know, do? Anyone in special you'd like to collaborate with, you know, something in the future? Maybe do something with one of your heroes, you know?
I don't know. I can't say I've really thought of that. I just love collaborating in general. And last year, I recorded like 5 or 6 or 7 collaborations that are due to come out at some point. All different genres. I think for me, when it comes to collaborations, it's about doing something different. So if it doesn't sound like my work with The Agonist or like my work with Sixth Sense, and it's something that I really enjoy, I'll do it regardless of who is in the project, Yeah.
Awesome. So let's speak about Orphans, the latest album with The Agonist, of course. What was the process there? Talk to us about the writing process, the lyrics, the arrangements. I know that was right before the pandemic, I know that, but how do you guys do that? Who does the lyrics and who does the arrangements?
Well, that was actually a lot soon. Like, it's been a minute. Like, the album came out in 2019, late 2019, and then we had the pandemic, but it was actually written in early 2018. So for me, right now, we're approaching, 3.5 years since that process was done, which is weird. I know it still feels fresh to some people, but for me, it's, like, not. But the process was pretty much what we've been doing for the past, like, since I joined the band. The guys work on the music, the instrumentals, and they send it to me, and then I check it out, and I write my lyrics and my vocals at home. I tell them if I want any adjustments to, like, the structure, or maybe changing up a riff or something, and just back and forth through computers, because I live in Chicago, they live in Montreal, and it's just a very efficient way of writing, I believe. And we just do that until the demos are done and until it's time to go into the studio and record the final thing.
Wow, very cool. So it's virtual, basically, yeah.
Yeah, which is good, actually, because since we've been full virtual since before the pandemic, doing it again during the pandemic was pretty much the same,
Nothing new.
Yeah.
So talk to us about joining The Agonist. Did you go on tour right away, or what happened first? A rehearsal? A couple of rehearsals?
Yeah. First we wrote music together. That was the very first thing. We did like 1 or 2 rehearsals maybe, but nothing too serious. When I first came to Montreal joining the band, we went straight into songwriting mode to write Eye of Providence. And then we went on our first tour about 6 months after that, I believe. So yeah, it was just go, go, go. Ever since I joined this band, it's been go, 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 which is good.
Awesome. Any advice you can give to newer up-and-coming bands?
Advice, yes. Okay. I guess my advice from my perspective and from my journey in music would be that if you are serious about the music that you're creating and your trajectory and, being a professional touring band or a musician in general, my advice would be to treat it as such.
Right.
I basically gave up on everything else at the age of 20 or 21, and I decided that I would be a full-time musician. And the first couple of years were rough. I would, stay at home, not go out and party like the rest of my friends, because we all know earning money off of music, especially metal music, is impossible.
It's tough, yeah.
So, yeah, the first few years were rough. I was just, getting by, living life really frugally, I guess. And but that gave me all the time in the world to practice my instrument and get better at it. Whereas I tried for a few months, doing the 9 to 5 and then coming home from work and practicing, but you don't have the energy, you don't have the mindset, you're just happy to be home after a full day of work.
Yeah.
And if you treat it as a hobby, you're never going to get to that level that you want to be, whether it's, the level could be with your own, output musically, but it could also be with the other things that you have to do as a musician now, because it's not just about singing or playing guitar or playing drums, it's also about, being active on social media, being engaging with your fans, business calls, reaching out to people, it's a full-time job, so
marketing.
My advice would be, exactly. So my advice would be treat it as such. Even if you're not making money, even if you're losing money, one day you will, and you just kind of have to battle through that till it happens.
Good advice. Nice. So
Thank you.
what's on your playlist? What do you listen to as a fan or just to enjoy,
So recently I actually came up with this really cool idea because I have a Patreon and we have a Discord server. And one of my patrons is a huge music fan. He's also a journalist, and he basically every Friday he makes a list of all the new releases, singles, albums, all that, and his personal picks as well. And it's been really cool because I find, because I am a musician and because I do music all day long, sometimes my ears are tired, and I don't want to listen to music.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it's been really hard for me to discover new music. So with this system, it's like I told him, can you make a playlist, like our version of like new metal tracks, and update it every week?
Yeah.
And I have that playlist. I also put it on my Twitch streams in the beginning where I'm talking, and it's just playing, in the background. And sometimes I'll listen to something and I'll be like, oh, what's that, And it's been really cool because I've discovered, tracks from younger maybe bands, or maybe I just never heard of them,
Yeah.
Like a good example is I really enjoyed, I'll give you a few bands, Vexed, Dream Shade, New Architects, that's been really cool. Our Hollow, Our Home, Beartooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these are, I'm just looking at the list right now, naming them. Thrice.
Oh yeah.
A lot of good Orbit Culture, Shadow of Intent. Really enjoyed their newest single as well. So, yeah, it's really cool because I feel like I have a gap in my musical education. I feel like I know everything that's going on up until a certain year, and then I just have this gap of where I was trying so hard to do music that I lost track of like what other young bands were doing, and now I'm kind of making up for that.
Yeah, you try to stay up to date, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good when you have a playlist like catered to you. Like I have a person that I trust that has a big, likes a lot of genres of music. He even put in like a Billie Eilish track, for example, And I kind of have him there, filtering through everything. And it's like the playlist could go from like extreme death metal 8-minute track to catchy pop punk 3-minute single,
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Yeah.
That's cool. I run an online radio station, J-Rock's Metal Zone, and I do same situation. I have to be keeping up with the new metal, new rock, and but that's fun too. You can't just stay.
Oh, for sure.
You're stuck to kill them all or whatever, So that's cool. Stay up to date.
Yeah. Definitely.
So can you give us your best gig and your worst gig?
Oh.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good ones and there's a lot of bad ones. Okay, I have the bad one first.
Okay.
Probably. And it was just a personal worst gig. Maybe my bandmates could name a different one. The worst one I ever played was on a U.S. tour somewhere in Indiana. And we played this venue that their equipment was just horrible. It was horrible. Like, I don't know what it sounded like from the crowd. I don't want to know. I just know all the problems that we had. And we weren't headlining, so there was another band after us. So we had very little time before going up on stage during our line check to make sure everything was working.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working. Specifically, my in-ears were not working. And there was no, I believe there was no foot stage monitor that I could use, or it was already taken up for the guitar players, and it was just not enough time to convert,
Wow. Horrible.
So I went on, I went on stage and I did a 45-minute set with absolutely no monitoring whatsoever.
Wow.
I still wore my in-ears because at least that gave me a little bit of isolation, and I could hear just a little bit of my own voice in my head, which is not at all ideal. It's far from ideal. I struggled a lot. But my main worry was the next day, because the next day we were playing Chicago and we were playing House of Blues, which
Nice.
was a packed venue.
Nice.
And I was so worried after this show. I was like, did I just blow out my voice? You know?
Oh,
Because when
wow.
you can't hear yourself, you push a little too hard,
Yeah.
and that could just completely blow out your voice, you know? So as soon as the gig ended, I stopped talking. I drank a shit ton of water. I made sure to sleep, and thankfully I was okay the next day. But it was horrific. I
Horrible.
never want to go through that again.
It's less than you want to sing with no monitor, for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like guitar or drums where you can just kind of see at least what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you can't hear yourself, you have no clue, you know. I think I did okay. I didn't see anyone in the crowd being like, "What the fuck," you know. So
Making faces.
I think
Yeah.
I did okay.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the sound was so bad anyways, so that if I made any mistakes, they probably weren't noticeable. So, and definitely not a show I want to relive.
Yeah.
Now, as for best show, this one's really hard because I've played a lot of good shows.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember one that stands out more than others. I know a lot of people will name like huge festivals that they've played that were amazing, and I've played some good festivals. You know, we've played Summer Breeze. I've played to like 10,000 people, but
Nice.
I can't say that that's my favorite experience. You know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think my favorite shows are the ones where I can just kind of see the crowd and see their faces and kind of vibe with everyone,
Yeah.
and you know, get a mosh pit going and all that fun energy, which is why I think at the end of the day I prefer club shows to huge festival shows. If I really had to choose like a best show or string of shows, I would maybe just say to this day playing Japan, just because that was like a long life dream of mine to go to Japan, and my first time ever in Japan was playing shows.
Oh, wow.
So that was really, really awesome. So yeah, and
Very cool.
But don't get me wrong, I enjoy all shows. I'll play any show.
Yeah. I get you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Japan. So,
For sure.
speaking of Japan, are you guys already planning to do some gigs or tour soon with either band?
We're trying. We have some stuff in the works, some stuff that is actually confirmed. However, it's not being announced because we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic. So, you know, there are certain bands out there, the ones that are headlining, of course, that call the shots, that don't want to announce a tour if it's going to get canceled.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of standby on that. But we're working on it. Like, we're working on a fall tour and a spring tour and all that stuff, rescheduling, you know, Latin America. But, you know, it's just going to have to come down to, will they let us play the shows, you know?
Yeah, it's a tough situation right now for everybody, I guess, for all bands.
It really is. And everything is so different, you know? Like, right now, the situation is very different in the U.S. from Europe and Canada and so on. So we really don't know how things are going to be like 3 months from now. You can't predict it.
Yeah, I saw a couple of bands canceling shows. You know, Tesla canceling some stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you know what's going on. So
Yeah, I mean, even sorry, I was just gonna name a fun little experience that I had this summer. I got to see Limp Bizkit play what I call a rehearsal show.
where
They were playing this festival, like 10 minutes, a 10-minute drive from where I live. I don't think they even announced it on their social media.
Really?
Yeah, it's this festival that goes on in my neighborhood, and they bring a bunch of bands in a variety of genres. Like, another day they had REO Speedwagon, for example.
Wow.
And another day they had Busta Rhymes. So it's very diverse. It goes on for like 10 days.
Cool.
And it's free. It's completely free. So
Wow.
we went to check out Limp Bizkit. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing to lose, you know, and the sound was horrendous.
Oh, wow.
I mean, free festival, you don't expect them to get the best gear, right?
Yeah.
But Limp Bizkit was amazing. Surprisingly, I'm
Really?
not too sure, but it was really great. It was really fun. And then I see on social media the next day that it was their very first show after like 2 years or something. So I was right in calling it a rehearsal show. And then they actually started a tour. So they played Chicago like
Yeah.
2-3 weeks later, And I think they played 3 or 4 shows, and then that got canceled. They basically said, due to COVID safety measures and whatnot, we're canceling the entire tour. So I was like, wow, holy shit, I got to see them.
You got
and then
to see
they played 4 more shows, and then that's it, you know?
I saw one of the shows online where he had a wig and some glasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's been a very memeable experience.
So you saw the first show then? Okay, cool. Wow.
I saw the first show. It was very much a rehearsal, but it was good. The energy was there. Everyone around me was like either in their 30s or 40s or even 50s, and there was that nostalgia of like everyone just being a teenager again and just live in that moment, you know, which Limp Bizkit and other new metal bands are great for, you know. And it was fun. It was exactly what I wanted to see after like 2 years of not seeing any shows. Like, you don't want your first show to be, I don't know, extreme death metal band. You want something a little bit more lighthearted, a little groovy. Let's party, you know, let's have fun. And that was exactly it. And it was great.
That was perfect. Yeah. Wow, cool. Very cool experience right there. So hopefully we see you on the road soon. And before we let you go, would you like to send a message to your fans listening to this podcast?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what to say, though. I mean, big thank you, as always. I think especially this last year of me being at home and not being able to earn any money from touring or doing anything else, if it weren't for my fans, I would have struggled a lot. So, just a big thank you from the bottom of my heart for enabling me to do what I love, and I hope to see you all at a show someday soon, hopefully.
Right, cool. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for making time, and we hope to see you on the road soon, and best of luck with all your music and your projects, you know.
Thank you so much, James. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome time, awesome conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Vicky Psarakis, the one and only very talented lady, front woman for the Agonist, and now Sixth Sense. She has not quit the Agonist, for those of you asking. This is only another band, and so she's a part of 2 bands now, Sixth Sense and the Agonist. So anyways, let's wait to see what the Agonist brings us in the future here. And for now, you guys can enjoy Sixth Sense. Make Believe is the name of the song. You can find it on your favorite digital format. And the video on YouTube, of course, Make Believe Sixth Sense. So anyways, don't forget to subscribe, guys and girls. Thank you for supporting, sharing, and liking our pages and social media stuff. And don't forget to keep it metal.
That metal interview.